Excelentísimo señor embajador, alcalde de Málaga, vicerrectora, señor SHIGERU BAN, autoridades, comunidad universitaria, queridos amigos, queridos alumnos. Cuando hace 3 meses nos pusimos en contacto por primera vez con la oficina en Tokio del señor Ban, tengo que reconocer que la idea de poder estar aquí hoy presentándolo era un hecho inimaginable. Cuando recibí su amable correo aceptando la invitación, fue una gran sorpresa que aventuraban 3 meses complejos e intensos hasta poder encajar todas las piezas que componen un evento como el que hoy celebramos. Este acto no habría sido posible sin la colaboración de muchas personas, más de 50, que de una forma desinteresada han ayudado a que este se pueda llevar a cabo. Queremos dar las gracias, en primer lugar, al personal de la oficina en Tokio y París del señor Ban por su inestimable ayuda en la organización de este viaje. A la Embajada de Japón por hacer fácil la organización de su llegada a Málaga. Al Ayuntamiento de Málaga y, por supuesto, a todo el personal del Teatro Cervantes por haber conseguido que lo que hace 2 semanas era un imposible, hoy se hiciese realidad. A la Universidad de Málaga y, por supuesto, al personal de nuestra escuela por su apoyo y colaboración. A todas las empresas que han colaborado y que sin su ayuda no habría sido posible que el señor Ban estuviera hoy también con nosotros. Finalmente, quería dar las gracias a la delegación de alumnos de la escuela y en especial a todos los alumnos que han colaborado en este evento. Nos reunimos en un lugar especial para esta ciudad. Seguramente no habría un espacio mejor para celebrar este acto y escuchar las palabras de nuestro invitado. Este teatro fue, en el momento de su inauguración a finales del siglo XIX, un claro ejemplo de la llegada de la modernidad a esta ciudad. El techo que nos cobija, obra de Ferrandi, es una alegoría al florecimiento económico, político y cultural de nuestra ciudad en esa época. Hoy, por contra, en un momento con una importante crisis a nivel internacional que afecta la economía, la política, lo social, lo cultural y sobre todo los valores de una sociedad, en muchos casos desanimada, que un arquitecto sea capaz de llenar un teatro de más de 1000 localidades solo con su palabra y algunas imágenes es un hecho insólito que dice mucho de nuestro conferenciante. Podría estar enumerando hasta el infinito y más allá cuáles son los méritos que recaen en el señor Ban para estar aquí hoy. Los innumerables premios y condecoraciones del más alto nivel o la lista abrumadora de sus edificios o publicaciones. Pero con su permiso, voy a centrarme en otros aspectos ya que los anteriores son de sobra conocidos por todos ustedes. Voy a citar brevemente el último párrafo donde se argumentan las razones por las que se le concedió el máximo galardón que puede conseguir un arquitecto, el premio Pritzker. SHIGERU BAN es un arquitecto cuyo trabajo incansable irradia optimismo. Donde otros pueden ver retos insuperables, el señor Ban ve una llamada a la acción. Donde otros pueden tomar un camino fácil, él ve la oportunidad de innovar. No solo es un maestro comprometido, es modelo a seguir por las generaciones más jóvenes, sino también una gran fuente de inspiración. Optimismo, acción, innovación, compromiso e inspiración. 5 palabras que definen cuál es la actitud de este gran arquitecto ante los nuevos retos de la arquitectura. Conceptos que son los que intentamos inculcar a nuestros alumnos en este periodo maravilloso de su formación. El 70% del público de este teatro tiene menos de 25 años. Estudiantes que han venido de muchos rincones, algunos lejanos, para escuchar una nueva forma de entender esta profesión que a todos nos apasiona. No cabe duda que hoy vamos a tener el honor y la suerte de poder escuchar a uno de los arquitectos más influyentes de esta época convulsa que nos ha tocado vivir. En 1939, el premio Nobel Vicente Alexander escribió un poema titulado Ciudad del Paraíso, dedicado a Málaga, donde vivió toda su infancia. Los que aquí estamos tenemos la suerte de vivir en ciudades que están mucho más cerca del paraíso que del infierno. Lo tenemos todo, casi todo. Tenemos la dicha de poder disfrutar de una situación que a otros muchos se les antoja inalcanzable. Situaciones de guerra, desplazados, refugiados, catástrofes naturales de todo índole, que casi siempre afectan a los más desfavorecidos. Requieren de una reflexión y de un cambio de estrategia que permita un mayor equilibrio. El título de esta conferencia usa 3 palabras: obra, actividad y humanidad. Queda claro que se trata de una declaración de intenciones. Por un lado está su trabajo y por otro la labor humanitaria que para él tiene la condición de una actividad ajena al trabajo. La ayuda a los demás es parte primordial de su vida y a la que dedica gran parte de su tiempo y esfuerzo, siempre de una forma desinteresada. Aplicando una máxima constante en su dilatada carrera profesional, lo que sirve para ser un museo, sirve para construir un hogar para un refugiado, o quizás debería decirlo al revés. Lo que sirve para ser un habitáculo de emergencia, sirve para ejecutar el mejor de los espacios. Señor Ban, los que vivimos en estas ciudades del paraíso le pedimos que siga usted creando estos espacios de la esperanza para los que lo han perdido todo. Yo me atrevo a ofrecerle este ejército de 700 jóvenes cuyas únicas armas son sus mentes llenas de ilusión, inspiración y optimismo, para ayudarle en este reto maravilloso de intentar hacer un mundo mejor entre todos. Muchas gracias. Arigato gozaimasu.
Good morning. Thank you very much for organizing such a wonderful lecture in such a wonderful place. Today I'm going to show you my works, architecture project, and also in last half of my lecture I'm also going to show you my disaster relief projects. After I started working as architect maybe 10 years, I was very disappointed about my own profession as architect, because we are mostly working for privileged people who has money and power. Because the money and power is invisible, they hire us to design, to build monumental building in order to show their power and money to the public. I'm not saying I'm not interested in making monument. I love to make monument too. But I thought we should not only work for the privileged people, but also general public, and also the people who lost their houses by natural disasters. I must say they are no longer natural disasters. They are becoming man-made disasters. For example, earthquake. Earthquake itself doesn't kill people, but collapse of the building kill people. That's responsibility for architects, but we are not there. We are not supposed to build the temporary housing. We are supposed to build the monumental building. However, I thought using our knowledge and experiences, we can make even temporary housing better. That is why I started working in disaster area last 21 years. Can I start my slide, please? I went to United States to study architecture, and immediately after I came back to Tokyo in 1985 to start my own practice without any working experiences. That is why I couldn't build any building, but I designed exhibitions. One of the first exhibitions I designed for my favorite architect from Finland, Alvar Aalto. This is the exhibition I designed in 1986 for him. Because I love Alvar Aalto's architecture, I've been in Finland many times to see his building, and I want to design his exhibition influenced by his architecture. However, the budget was very limited. I couldn't afford using wood as Alvar Aalto did. So I was looking for alternative material to replace wood by something inexpensive. And I found out recycled paper tube, which was all over my studio. We used to draw the sketches on the tracing paper. After we finished the tracing paper, always paper tube remained. We used to also use fax paper roll. Also, always paper tube remained. We're supposed to throw them away, but I hate to throw things away, so I kept them. So paper chip was all over my studio when I was looking for the alternative material for wood. I thought this is a good material, so that the smaller diameter tube was used for the sealing, like Alba Arto's B-Priz library, and the larger diameter was used as a freestanding partitions. And I found out paper tube was much stronger than I expected. Next, please. Then as I started testing to find out the strengths in order to design the building out of paper tube structure. And from this testing, bending, compression, creeps, I found out it's really strong enough to use for the building. Next, please. 1990, I had the opportunity to design a temporary exhibition hall in the city of Odawara, near Tokyo. And I applied this paper chip, but I couldn't get complicated building permission from government in order to use unusual building material like paper. So this building, the main structure is steel, as you see here, like this one, is a steel column supporting the roof. But otherwise, all the walls are made of paper tube. There's 330 tubes. Diameter is 55 centimeter. Wall thickness is 15 millimeter. Of course, inside is empty. And some of the tube is bigger, like this one here. Diameter is 120 centimeter. Inside is toilet. In case you finish with your toilet paper, you can tear those inside wall. Next, please. In order to get government permission to use paper chip as a building structure, I had to design my own weekend house. Also, I'm not kind of person to enjoy the weekend, but nobody hired me to make the building out of paper, except I get government permission. So I spent 1 year testing, improving to the authority. Finally, I got permission. So this is become first building, permanent building out of paper. But still, as you see, the house is very clean because it's not used. I don't have weekend, so that house is not used. Next, please. Also, I use the paper chip for other type of structure. It's arch structure. I designed the wooden joint. Again, I have to test it. I have to get government permission again because it's different type of structure. This still exists. This was built 1997, so it's 20 years ago. It still exists. Next, please. Year 2000, in Germany, city of Hanover, they had the World Expo. The theme of the expo was environmental issue, and I was very lucky to be chosen by government to make a Japanese pavilion because I was the only architect who is using recyclable material for building. Actually, I must say the building temporary structure for expo is not very environmental friendly because all the buildings are built for only half year, then they destroyed to create a lot of industrial waste. Normally, the goal of design is when building is finished, but my goal was when building was demolished. I wanted to design the building to be recycled or reused when building was demolished, so that I work with the local German manufacturers carefully to choose the material, to find out the construction method, and I was very lucky to collaborate with Professor Frei Otto, who is a genius architect engineer in Germany, to collaborate for this design. For example, the paper tube was made locally with company. Within this, the contract we made, this company agreed to collect all the used paper tube when building was demolished to recycle. That was part of the contract. Even foundation, concrete foundation. Concrete is difficult material to recycle, so that I made a wooden box filled with sand instead of using concrete. This membrane, the roof normally made by PVC membrane. As you know, the PVC is not environmental friendly material, so I made membrane out of paper, waterproofed, fireproofed according to German regulation. For the erections, there is 1,000 yellow scaffolding vertically, which can be rotated by hand to push little by little to create three-dimensional curvatures. there is only one high-tech method was used. In order to measure change of shape every day from the ground, it was too difficult to measure from the ground because the shape was too complicated and too big. So we put the antenna on top of the structure to measure from satellite using GPS. Next, please. Also, the connections joint is a fabric tape, so it's easy to connect and easy to dismantle. Again, this was recycled after building demolished. Next, please. Also, in the beginning of my career, I was developing prefabrication system for the house. This is a system called furniture house, named because of came from the structural system. This house, for example, there is no columns, no walls structurally. Everything structurally made by factory-made furniture like closet or bookshelf. This is standard closet, 90 centimeter in width and 2.4 meter in height. Already the insulation is installed, and we just bring in the factory-made furniture to the side, connected to the foundation vertically and horizontally between furniture and furniture. Next, please. In one day, all the closet are installed, already is painted inside outside. Next day, we just have to put the roof. This is a single-story building. If we want to have two-story, just you have to repeat putting the furniture on top of this platform. This is the completion. We don't need to work with skilled carpenter. Anybody can build very easily and very quickly. Everything you can see here, closet, bookshelf, that's the structure of the house. Otherwise, there are no wall or no columns. Next, please. Idea of using storage containers to be structure was further developed to this structure. This is called nomadic museum. This is a movable museum, traveling museum for Canadian artist Gregory Cobell. He asked me to design his own museum over 4,000 square meters, which travel from city to city, country to country. And the challenge is how to make a building easily, quickly, and also dismantle easily, but also shipment is very expensive for the heavy building. So what I found out is use shipping container, 20-feet container. I use the shipping container not because shipping container can be transported, but shipping container is international standard. We can find the same used container anywhere in the world. For example, here is the Empire State Building. This is a pier in the Hudson River in New York. This is a 200-meter gallery. I made a checkerboard pattern with a shipping container because there is existing connection in the corner to be connected. And after we use this for the exhibition for 3 months, we just return to the original shipyard. We don't bring them to the next venue because we can rent the same container anywhere in the world. Next, please. This is the inside. The pillar is 10-meter paper tube, diameter 75, supporting roof. His photo is exhibited in between the columns. Next, please. When we went to the Los Angeles, Santa Monica Beach, as you see, the color of container is totally different from New York because this is what we rented in Santa Monica. And also the site was smaller. We got the parking lot. It used to be 200 meters, but now it's 100 meters, and it's parallelly with the position. Also, Gregory, artist, asked me to design extra theater space, so that I just put the two gallery with distance and put a new roof to create an additional theater space. So the number of containers is same from New York, but the area becomes 50% bigger than New York. This photo is in Tokyo. As you see, the color of container is different. This is what I could let in Tokyo, so that we don't have to transport again. This is a house called picture window house. Normally, picture window is a square window, framing beautiful landscape as a painting in the house. Instead of making square window, I made a whole house as a picture window to make a very long 22-meter span horizontal window. When the sliding door open, there's a big picture window. Next, please. So as you see, this is a big horizontal picture window framing beautiful ocean view. Next, please. Again, this house, the theme is a picture window. This is a house I built in Sri Lanka. After I built the houses, rebuilt the villages destroyed by tsunami 2001, by Sumatra earthquake. One of my sponsors in Sri Lanka, Belgian, the businessman asked me to design his own house. Here it is. And because this was built on the hill, instead of changing the context, I just used the existing level of the hill to have a different level of the spaces inside the house. Everything was made with local craftsmen, local materials. Next, please. So then finally you reach the main living room. There's a big picture window connecting the ocean view with the interior, inside. Next, please. This is a house built at Iwaki City in Fukushima prefecture. As a Japanese house, this is rather big. But unfortunately, there is no great view outside, so that I made a courtyard so that all the room has a good view inside. Next, please. I also utilize industrial material for the housing use. For example, this is a glass shutter. Normally, this is used for the fire station. So when you want to go to the swimming pool, just you have to push button. Immediately, the shutter goes up, and you can jump into the swimming pool directly from the living room. Even this family room, when glass shutter is open, family room is connected with courtyard. So all the rooms have the view to the water or green, connecting inside and outside. Next, please. This is a building in one of the most expensive commercial area in the world called Ginza, Tokyo. This is a headquarters for Swatch Group in Tokyo. As you may know, the Swatch Group owns lots of brand names like Omega, Tissot, Jacquardot, Brand, and so on. This was competition. We are asked to design 7 boutiques of different brand names Swatch Group own, and the offices. And because the Ginza is very expensive land, the width of the building is very narrow and it's very deep. So that my challenge was how to give, this was not requested by client, but my challenge was how to give same kind of commercial exposure for 7 boutiques. Because we can have one boutique in front of commercial street, rest of the boutiques have to be the back, upstairs or downstairs. I thought it's very unfair not to face to the commercial street. So how to make all 7 boutiques facing the street? So my idea was using glass shutter to cover the whole building. Also these 3-story atriums, I didn't want to depend on air conditioning during the good season. So we just opened to make the space very comfortable with the cross ventilation. Also, the ground floor, front and back, the glass shutter open, creating the passage for public with green wall and some water feature, so that the public can come in freely. And along this passage, there is a glass showroom of 7 boutiques. They're small, rather small, 3 meter by 4 meter, so that we cannot display everything. But next, please. But after, if you want to see more products of each boutique, you have to just push button. For example, here, each showroom is designed as a hydraulic elevator, bringing customer only to your boutique. So each showroom can be elevated by a hydraulic motor to bring customer to the main boutiques. So that this was a good solution to give the 7 boutiques the same store frontage. So that is why I was chosen for this competition. Next, please. This is a 4th floor. It's an atrium. When the shutter is open, it becomes semi-outdoor space. This is giraffe. It's an interesting story. When I submitted competition, I drew giraffe in section drawing in order to show the height of 3-story atrium. Just before the completion of the building, the president of Swatch came from Switzerland to see the construction, and she said, "Where's the giraffe?" I said that was just a drawing for completion, but she said that I don't accept this building as a completion unless I see the draft. So I had to ask my friend sculptor to make a draft to be accepted as a completion. This is also we are requested to have automatic parking underground, so we need a big entrance for the car. But this really kills the flow of the passage, so I invented a new elevator. Whole elevator goes down, so that when the car is not there, the roof of the parking entrance becomes the floor of the passage, so that normally there is no entrance for the parking. This is a condominium designed in Chelsea area in Manhattan, New York. When I went to the site first time, it's end of the day. There's many warehouses and also the galleries where they are closed by glass shutter, metal shutters. So I thought metal shutter is very contextual material in Chelsea. I decided to cover my condominium all the metal shutter. It's a preferred metal, so it's translucent. This shutter was used for the security and also to provide the sun shading. Inside the living room with the double height with big bifolding door, I call. It can be totally open to connect inside with the terrace. Next, please. So this is the bifolding the closed, bifolding the open inside or outside to create canopy. Even the metal perforated shutter is closed, still it's translucent to see the view. And by accident, I found out this perforated shutter works very well for the as a mosquito net in the summer. Next, please. This was my temporary office in Paris, on top of the Pompidou Center, which was built by Richard Rogers and Renzo Piano in 1977. When I won the competition for new Pompidou Center in city of Metz, I wanted to have my own office in Paris. But as you know, the renting office in Paris is very expensive. I couldn't afford. So when I met the director of the Pompidou Center first time, I proposed to make my own temporary house on top of the Pompidou Center, on the roof or terrace. He said that's a great idea, as long as you can expose inside of your office to the public, the audiences, for them to understand what's happening for the new Pompidou Center. So that immediately I brought my student from Japan, working with a French student during summer, to build my office by ourselves. Next, please. So this is a very lightweight structure, paper chip with wooden connections. And so that we got I stayed there for 6 years, enjoying wonderful view of Paris without paying any rent. It was free. But there's one inconvenient thing that happened. When my friend came to see me, they had to buy ticket because I was we were part of the exhibition. So that was very inconvenient. Otherwise, it was very free. Next, please. This is one of the graphic panels submitted for the competition for Pompidou Center Metz. This is the map of the city. This is the train station. You can take a TGV only 90 minutes from Paris. Main part of the is missing. Actually, there's a very important cathedral here. Main part of the city is the north part of the train station, and my site was the south part. It was totally empty. Also, we are a little bit away from the center of the city. I wanted to connect my museum with the city. What I did was like this. This is the model we submitted. This is a tube, square tube, we call gallery tubes, 15 meter in width, 90 meter in length. 3 of them stacking on top of each other but shifted different directions. Top of the tube is facing to the most famous cathedral of the city. End of the gallery, there is a picture window framing the cathedral in order to connect the museum with the center of the city. Second tube is facing to the train station. Because the city of Metz is very close to the border to Germany, after the wars, all the time that the city is occupied by German and went back to France and go back to Germany. So there's many historical buildings made by German architects. So even this train station is a part of this important monument designed by German architects, so that it's become part of very important history of the city of Metz. So second tube is facing to the train station. picture window of train station to the museum. Next, please. The roof construction idea came from traditional Chinese bamboo hut. The Chinese bamboo, the traditional Asian hut always we have oil paper as waterproofing, and this hexagon pattern woven as a structure. I made the roof of some computer center method using hexagon pattern, hexagon roof shape, and hexagon cells. As you know, if you see the map of the Europe, the shape of the France is nearly hexagon. That is why for French people, hexagon is national symbol. This was my first challenge for the international competition. I wanted to please the French people, so that's why I used the French symbol of hexagon into the design. But it's a structural meaning. This is the construction of the timber. This is suspended structure from the center of the steel core. Next, please. So this is completion with timber roof, membrane, texture windows, glass shutter before the opening is closed. Next, please. During the evening, translucent membrane show that the pattern of the structure. Next, please. When the glass shutter is open, inside the foyer is connected with the cafe, outside, plaza, so that the total museum open to the public. Next, please. This is the main elevator and steel core, the center core, hanging the timber, woven timber structure. Next, please. This is a picture window framing the cathedral. Next, please. This is a project in South Korea. This is the golf clubhouse. When I was asked to design golf clubhouse, I didn't know what is inside of the clubhouse because I don't play golf. But when I was very small, my father used to take me to the practicing golf range. That time, we put the ball on top of tee, which was made in wood. So that was only my image of the golf. So I designed the structure like a tee in timber, in the wood. So as you see, this structure pattern is the same hexagon, but this is compression arch instead of a tensile structure like a computer center MS. That's why each element is aligned, not overlapping. This is the structure, each element is coming together to become the cloud. It's very simple compression arch. This is a headquarters for the newspaper company in Zurich, Tamedia. The outside cladding is aluminium. Followed the pattern of the historical building next door. And inside is totally timber structure for 7-story building. Next, please. As you see, this structure is a joint connection. I didn't want to use any steel. So the two of the beams are sandwiched to column. And perpendicular to that, the beam is oval shape. This is why when it was inserted, this became a rigid connection for the lateral force. So it's a very simple connection to make a building very strong for the lateral movement. Next, please. So completion, all the tree is exposed inside. When the shutter opens, this becomes semi-outdoor space. Next, please. This is a small museum called Aspen Art Museum in Colorado, Aspen, Colorado, in the United States. This was built in the downtown Aspen. This typical building in Aspen is a squarish brick, brown building, brown brick over some wood. I want to design the museum which go with the other building in downtown Aspen. So I made a square brown building, but not heavy brick. This is made by the material. It actually just came from Spain. This is the skin is a plywood, but the inside is the laminated paper with resin. It's fire protected and very strong waterproof. It's woven to make a screen to hide the inside. This museum is so small, there is no lobby on the ground floor. Next, please. You have to take the ground semi-outdoor stair, or you have to take a glass elevator to go to the rooftop first, because there are no lobby on the ground floor. Next, please. Then you arrive to the rooftop. Then you enjoy the mountains. This is ski gelände. Aspen is most famous ski resort in the United States. So I used the experience of skiing into the circulation for the gallery at the museum. So first you have to come up to the rooftop by taking the lift or stair, then enjoy the view of the mountain, then you come down little by little to enjoy the art. So that is just exactly what you do for skiing. You take a lift to go up to the mountain top of the mountain, then enjoy the view of the mountain, then you come down by skiing little by little. So that is the same method, same circulation system for this museum. This roof is also timber space frame without any metal connections. The timber is carved and just only one bolt to connect with a lower cut with the diagonal element. Also ceilings and the benches made by paper tube. Next, please. This is the Oita Prefecture Museum in south of Japan, completed last year. Using local timber for the third floor gallery, because this city is very famous for bamboo crafts. And also I wanted to, normally museum is a kind of closed box. Until you go inside, pay the ticket, you will find that. Otherwise, the museum is normally closed. I wanted the museum totally open to the city. So I made an old facade, use the bifurcating door like what I did in New York. So that in a fine day, the street can be closed to have big event connecting inside of the museum with the outside of the street. Next, please. So this is when the bifurcating door open, it's closed. Also, the inside of the gallery is movable. Partitions, you can change the arrangement. The roof, actually, second floor is hung from the upper floor, so there are no columns downstairs. So it's very flexible space. Next, please. Third floor, there's another foyer using timber to bring natural light in for the foyer. Next, please. Here, from here, I'll show you the disaster relief. This is Rwanda, 1994. They had the fight between two tribes, Hutu and Tutsi. Over 2 million people became refugees. And when I saw this photo on the weekly magazine, I was very shocked to see, because people are freezing with blanket. And I found out, because the shelter given by United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees, UNHCR, was very poor. That's why during the rainy season, they couldn't keep them warm. That's why they're freezing with the blanket. And I wrote a letter, no reply, so I had to go there to Geneva, the headquarters of UNHCR, to propose my idea of improving the shelter. And I was very lucky to be accepted as a consultant because of the following reason. This is a typical UNHCR shelter in Africa. Refugees have to cut the trees by themselves to make a frame and put the United Nations UNHCR plastic sheet 4 meters by 6 meters. But over 2 million people cut the trees. This area used to be the forest, but all the trees gone, and they go much further to cut more trees. So that this became very serious deforestation and environmental problem. That is why United Nations start providing them aluminum pipes. But aluminum is very expensive in that area, so that the refugees sold them out for money and cut trees again. That is why providing aluminum pipe was not a good solution to stop cutting trees. So when I proposed my idea using recycled paper tube as a structure, that is why I was accepted to develop this idea further. Next, please. I made prototypes. Also, I was very lucky to have the support from one of the most famous furniture company in Switzerland, Vídeo. As you may know, Vídeo has a great collection of architecture. This is the museum and the factory designed by Frank Gehry. Behind this museum, there is the seminar house designed by Tadao Ando. Further right, there is a factory designed by Nicolas Grimshaw, and the factory designed by Alvaro Siza, and also they have their own fire station designed by Zaha Hadid. So that this company has the most expensive collection of architecture, and my prototype of tent becomes the cheapest collection. This is Byumba camp in Rwanda. Already Rwanda refugee came back to home, accepting refugees from Congo. I went there to put up my shelters. Unfortunately, I wanted to make something more comfortable. But according to the UN policies, we are not supposed to do something too comfortable because they want them to go back to home as soon as possible. If the shelter is too comfortable, they're going to stay longer. So that the aim of my development was just stopping trees, so that the budget of each shelter is only $50 US, like a 45 euro per shelter. So it's very simple paper tube with plastic connection with UN plastic sheet. That was very successful to stop cutting trees. Next please. Year after, 1995, Kobe city in Japan, we had a big earthquake. Nearly 6,000 people are killed, and some of the cities and the wooden houses totally burned fire after the earthquake. I read the article on the newspaper. There's many former Vietnamese refugees gathering in this Catholic church without any building. I thought although the Japanese victims were having hard time, but I thought the minority former victims must have more difficult time. So I went to this Catholic church, and they are having morning service without any building, without any roof around the fire. So that I proposed to the priest, why don't we rebuild the church out of paper tube? He thought I'm crazy proposing the building out of paper after the fire. But he didn't. However, he absolutely rejected my proposal. But I couldn't give up. So every Sunday, I commuted to Kobe from Tokyo to attend the morning service. Next please. Then I got to know where the former Vietnamese refugees, they are living like this in a park with very poor conditions. Also, government started building temporary houses. Kobe is very dense, so that all the houses were built outside of the city. However, these Vietnamese refugees has a job only working for particular factory in particular area. If they move out to the city, to the government temporary house, they cannot commute. So that they want to keep living here, also it's such a poor condition. Also, neighbor people try to kick them out. They're afraid the park is becoming like a slum. So I thought we have to provide them something more comfortable, healthier, but something very clean and well-planned to be accepted, keep living there by neighbor. So that we started building the shelter temporary house with the paper tube, with beer crates. In Japan, there are two major beer companies called Kirin and Asahi. Asahi make a plastic beer crate red, which doesn't go with the color of the paper tube. So I asked the Kirin company to donate the beer crates. I still remember we were very disappointed because I thought the Kirin company must donate the plastic beer crate with beer inside, but it was totally empty. So we were very disappointed. Anyway, during the summer with the students, we built the houses, 50 houses for Vietnamese refugees. And they stayed there for 4 years. Next, please. Finally, the priest recognized that I'm quite serious and we can build the church out of paper tube. He said, as long as you collect the donation by yourself, building by student. So I made everything by ourselves with the student using paper tube. It's very small, 10 meter by 15 meter. The paper tube is made as an oval shape, which comes from my favorite church in Rome, designed by Bernini. This is the first time they had a morning service under the roof, and actually they thought they can use only a few years, but actually it was there for 10 years. People loved it. This space for not only for the religious people, but also community loves this place. And after 10 years, they decided to rebuild to the church. However, there was a big earthquake in Taiwan. They asked us to donate this church. So we disassembled, next piece, and ship over to Taiwan and reassembled, and this became permanent church and community center in Taiwan. Then I was thinking, what is a temporary and what is a permanent building? Even building made in paper can be permanent as long as the people love it. But there's so many buildings in concrete which can be destroyed easily by earthquake, But also, if building was built by developer, even in concrete, to make money, other developer buys the land, destroy the existing building, and put new one. So it's very temporary. So that whether building is temporary or permanent is not depending on what kind of material it's made of. Even building in concrete, if that is building to make money, it's a very temporary. But even building made in paper, if people love it, it's become permanent. Next please. 1999 in Turkey, the big earthquake, I was invited to make a temporary housing. This is the paper tube, plastic beer crate, donated free from local manufacturers, and also the students help us to put waste paper inside the paper tube to make wall more insulated. Next please. Year 2001, there was a big earthquake west side of India. I was invited to make the temporary housing, and I found out locally made paper tube. My fabric manufacturer was there. They make a fabric and they make their own paper tube to roll the fabric for shipment. So that's why it's very easy and inexpensive to get the locally paper tube available. And instead of plastic, we use locally available woven cane mat as a roof. Only thing I couldn't get was plastic beer crates, because nobody in the west side of India drink beer. So that the local architects recommended me to use the Coca-Cola box. But I thought this red Coca-Cola box is not very contextual here. So instead I made a very traditional mud floor and mud foundation. Some of them I use as a house, and some of them I use as a school. Next please. 2004, the south of Sri Lanka fisherman's village, I told you, that was totally destroyed by tsunami. And I was asked to rebuild the village with the locally available mud, cement brick. But in order to utilize, in order to accelerate the process of the building, I also made a modular furniture, because they lost all the furniture too, where they moved in, the walls and the doors, and that's also becoming the closet and bookshelves. And so she's very happy that immediately she had moved in, she decorated the shelves. So this is the existing, now current situation, the same village. Also I created semi-outdoor space, because of climate, always they eat and walk in the semi-outdoor space. Next please. 2008 in China, city of Chengdu, over 25,000 people are killed. But also collapse between the authority and the contractors. Many of the school buildings are not well built. So many of the schools were destroyed, many children died. And I started building temporary housing, but the local authority didn't allow any foreigner to make a temporary housing. But instead, I met the schoolmaster. She said that their classroom is destroyed. They need a temporary classroom. So I brought my Japanese student, working with a Chinese local student for 5 weeks together, staying together, to make 9 classrooms over 500 square meters with local available paper tube and wooden joint. Next please. This is the completion. Children finally came back to their original school. That's why they were so happy. 2 years ago, they had another earthquake. I went there to check. There was no damage, and the schoolmaster was so happy. She said she wanted to continue using this school because they love this school. Next please. 2009, L'Aquila, Italy. It's very close to Rome. They had a big earthquake. Old city are totally destroyed like this. And this city, L'Aquila, is very famous for music. They have their own Philharmonic Orchestra and School of Music, but all the concert halls were destroyed by earthquake. I met the mayor, and I proposed to make a temporary the concert hall, auditorium, because otherwise musicians and students was leaving from city. He gave me the land free. He said, as long as you do the fundraising by yourself, we give you the land free. And I was very lucky to be contacted by the Japanese embassy in Rome to notice the next piece. Do you remember him? So he decided to bring a G8 summit to L'Aquila in order to ask the international community for some support. And the embassy was very helpful to organize this press conference. This person is the former Prime Minister of Japan, because that time we used to change the Prime Minister every year. So I'm sure Mr. Berlusconi doesn't know what he's holding, but it's a sample of paper too. Because of this press conference in front of journalists, I got €500,000 donated, and I could build temporary auditorium. It might be permanent. In order to make something inexpensive, I need a very good acoustical wall, but I didn't want to use concrete. So this wall is made of scaffolding pipe and filled with sandbag. Because it's so ugly, I just covered with the red curtain donated. Inside, I use different diameter of tubes. I work with acoustical engineer to have very good sound effect with this paper tube. Next please. 2010 in Haiti, island of Haiti, very big earthquake. This is the capital of Port-au-Prince. All the airport and port was closed, so I had to fly to Santo Domingo. This is the capital of the Dominican Republic, and we have to drive over 7 hours to get to the capital, finding out this situation. People are living with a very poor condition, and no no materials available in Port-au-Prince, so that we prepared all the shelter material with the student locally in Santo Domingo and brought over to the Port-au-Prince. Next please. And during the weekend we just built, also we trained local victims to build the paper tube shelter by themselves. Next please. 2011, northern Japan, Tohoku area, we had big earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear problems, and this was really disaster. Always after the disaster, the big gymnasium become evacuation facilities. But problem is, there's no privacy between families. This situation is same from Kobe, Niigata. Every time we have the big earthquake situation, same. But always the victims suffer without privacy. But the government never improved it. So that I thought I have to do something. So I went with my student with the paper tube. Just small paper tube was just inserted, and with the public curtain. Because the authority doesn't want to have any fixed wall. So from their request and also depending on the condition, this was a good solution to make a partition out of paper tube. The screen can be adjusted easily for the size of the family, and they, not only students, even the victims, they can help us to build them. Next please. Over 3 months, we built over 3,000 units in 50 facilities in Tohoku area. And it's very well organized. Now I do the same thing in Kumamoto, the south of Japan. We had another big earthquake April 16th, so that we are doing the same thing. Then after a few months, they can move to the temporary housing. But temporary housing is very, very poor, like this. They are built very closely so that you cannot open the window. There's leaking, no storage, and also that no soundproof between the neighbor, so that you can hear the sound from the next door neighbor easily. So another disaster. So I thought this has to be improved. Next please. And also the over 500 kilometer coast area of Tohoku area was totally destroyed by tsunami. And some of the area I knew they don't have enough flat, empty site to build standard single-story housing. So 1 month later, I proposed 3-story high shipping container, the temporary house to the local authority. And while I was making partitions, I met the mayor of the village called Onagawa in Miyagi Prefecture. He said that he has to build 190 more units, but he has only 1 baseball ground. But that is not enough for single-story standard government house. So that the mayor accepted my proposal to make a 3-story temporary house first time in Japan. The no complete foundation is just steel plate, and the shipping container just stuck on top of each other, making a checkerboard pattern. Next please. This completion, they are so happy they are having the festival. This is the inside. Inside of the shipping container is rather small. I put the children's room and the bus unit. And in between space is rather big, so we put the dining and living room spaces. Next, please. 2 years ago, there was a big, 3 years ago, big typhoon, and next year, there was a big earthquake in Philippines. And I went to there with my student, working with local student, against the paper tube structure with local available woven bamboo sheet to have nice ventilations. In the Philippines, they have a big beer company called San Miguel, but they are so cheap. I asked them to donate the plastic beer crates, but they rejected it. So finally, I had to accept using the red Coca-Cola box. Very unfortunate. Next, please. Last year in Nepal, they had a big earthquake, and I went to there, and all the building was built by brick. There was no structural protection for the earthquake, but the people doesn't want to live again with a brick house because it's not earthquake proof. But I don't know, they don't know what to do with this rubble of the bricks. It's everywhere. Some of the traditional buildings was not destroyed. It's so beautiful. It's brick with a wooden frame, curve, windows. And also I went to some timber yard. They cut the trees, but also they make a wooden frame for the window and doors. Then I got the idea using local idea of the local building and the level of the brick and the frame. So I just used this existing standard frame, nail each other, and put the plywood behind, and just put the brick, because they don't know what to do with it. We need a specialist for the brick building, but just putting brick inside of a small frame is easy to be done by anyone. This is also, I made a prototype in Japan to test in order to meet the Japanese earthquake building standards for this earthquake too. So this is the first prototype. We keep building this there. So this is an ongoing project in Nepal. Next, please. 2 weeks before earthquake in Japan, 2001, 2011, there's another big earthquake in Christchurch in New Zealand. And the most important, the cathedral was destroyed by earthquake. I was invited, as long as I do design free, they wanted me to come. I analyzed the plan and elevation of existing church, cathedral, and I used same geometry using the border section into the new design of my temporary cathedral. Next, please. This is the result. This is the paper chip available locally in New Zealand. And this is the one for 700 seats. Next, please. Here's a bishop. She was very happy about the foundation is also made of the shipping container as office. She's very happy, but the only thing she rejected my proposal was making clothes out of paper tube. But I wanted to make a clothes out of paper tube. And in Japanese, by chance, the paper we call kami, which also mean by chance it's mean God in Japanese. So I told the bishop, it must be very lucky to make a cloth out of paper. So that then she understood, and now she's very happy having the clothes out of paper. So now, as I said, I continue working in Nepal. 2 days after Kumamoto earthquake, April 18, there's another earthquake in Ecuador. I went to there. We are building temporary housing there. So there are many ongoing projects. So that I like to continue making a monument to be built, to be loved by people. Thank you very much. Gracias.